All right, welcome everybody to the call. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your evening, out of your day, wherever you're tuning in from to hop on this call. I promise you, you will get so much value out of this. As I said, welcome everybody to the call. If you could please, just before we start, drop where you're from. I can see that we have around 30 people on the call. So where's everybody tuning in from? We got Illinois, we got Toronto, Montreal, San Antonio. We got Scarborough, Estonia. Whoa, Markham, Winnipeg, Toronto again. All right. Got Indiana, India, Oshawa, Fort Worth, Texas. All right, lovely. So, just wanted to introduce myself for those of you who don't know who I am. I'm Philippe, and a little bit of insight on why I decided I wanted to host this call with you guys, and we managed to work together with Mike Miles as our special guest and have Trade House put this call together for everyone. So big thanks to everyone involved to getting this off the ground. And the reason I have this inspiration or the necessity to want to have this call is because as a kid, I was raised in a household where my mom is a certified life coach and my dad's taken so many different personal development courses and everything. So I was raised living on this getting better self-improvement wave. So since then, it's always been an interest of mine. It's always been a passion of mine to look into it, learn, and also get tips from my parents and other life coaches that I've been able to get in contact with on how to navigate this journey that we have in our lives. So without further ado, let's get into this. And the way I'm actually going to start this is I'm going to ask you, please take out your pencils, your pens, your paper, notebooks, whatever you have, because note takers are money makers and you're really going to need to try and keep up. If you need, this is going to be on YouTube afterwards, so don't stress too much. First thing I'm going to ask you is, if this call was a success for you, what would you like to leave with? Just quickly in your notebook, in your mind, whatever, put down, this call is about self-reflection and self-correction. You need to use both of them in tandem to overcome obstacles, overcome challenges, and move on in your life. So if this call was going to be a success for you, what would be something that you would leave with? So as I said, on today's call, we're going to be talking about self-reflection and self-correction. As we know, we're approaching the end of the year, so it's a great time to look back on this crazy 2020 year that we had and see what we want to improve, see what we like, see what we didn't like, etc., so on and so forth. So for this call, Mike and I are going to be able to share tips, tricks, insights, such as perceptual positions, which I bet most of you haven't heard of, but we'll go into it. We're going to talk about different questions to be asking yourself to aid your reflection. We're going to talk about visualizations, scenarios, and other concepts to help you grasp everything. All of which, as I said, focus on the self-reflection and self-correction. After all, we need to move forward and improve ourselves. We need to improve ourselves. We need to improve the quality of our lives. We need to improve the quality of the lives of those around us, our loved ones, our friends, our family. And if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. Let that sink in. If you need to write that one down, go for it. If you need me to repeat it, drop a 1 in the chat. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. Now, often when we're told to reflect and then correct on a situation, we don't necessarily know where to start. So obviously, if you want to achieve a goal and you're struggling, the definition of insanity is to repeat over the same thing and expect a different outcome. So you need to correct something in order to achieve that goal. And you can't correct something without first reflecting and figuring out what it is. But if all you did on the other side was reflect and you didn't correct anything, nothing will change. And as we know, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So to start off the process, one could sit and ask yourself, in my present life, what do I want more of? Or on the other side of that, in my present life, in this present moment where we are right now, after looking at this whole year that we've had, what do I want less of? What do I want more of? By asking this question, you can start the reflection process in your mind. The answers from this question will provide you with goals that you can then work towards and set up a path towards whatever you want more of and whatever you want less of. Now, during this, asking these questions, you also want to remember, just like if I'm going to give you feedback, if anyone's going to give you feedback, like anyone who plays sports or all of us who are trading, like we hop on the calls to learn. If we see that Cassius is doing something, he's marking up a chart on gold, and I go, oh wow, I didn't see that before. That's amazing. I'm gonna stay positive. I'm gonna see that and go, great, okay, my self-reflection on what he's doing compared to what I'm doing is positive feedback. So you want to stay in that state of positive feedback. Because often when we're reflecting on our lives or reacting to a situation or outcome or result that we're just not happy with, we start to feel dissatisfaction. We place judgment on ourselves or on others. And instead of walking down this dark path, in coaching, we recommend our clients to give thanks to the part of you that is actually bringing you these negative emotions. You want to say thank you for identifying the issue, the fault, or the flaw, because that's all our emotions are there to do. A negative emotion is just like if you put your hand on a stove and you feel that pain in your hand. That's telling you, this ain't good. Get your hand off that stove. Well, that's what these emotions are here to tell you. So you want to be thankful that you're feeling them. You must give thanks for the awareness. Yeah, you want to give thanks for the awareness and thanks to the learning. I had an old high school teacher of mine, and he told me, look, if you got a big thing that you want to get over, if you want to move forward, if you want to do these different things, then you need to fuck shit up fast and build up steam. And the meaning behind this is we learn more from our mistakes and from our hardships than from winning. Oh, it's just saying, so you want to say thanks for like the fault that you have to overcome that is holding you back from breaking through that barrier. You want to get past that flaw. You want to get past that issue. You need to address it first. You don't want to be like, gosh, I'm so impatient. I hate myself for that. You want to say, thank you for the negative emotion, or thank you for the realization and the awareness that I have a lack of patience that I must work on. I am now going to work on that. Thank you. So then from there, instead of setting yourself down this rabbit hole of negativity, you're able to walk forward into a path of reflection and self-correction. So once again, you want to say thank you for giving me this situation to learn from. Now I have the next part ready for you, but before I just move into that, I want to ask you, drop a 777 if you've heard of the book The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. Holy, we actually got some sevens. So yeah, I didn't know how many people would have known that one, but it's a banger. So if you haven't read that, there's some homework for you. On top of reviewing your notes, doing your reflections and everything at the end of the day, also read that book. Because in this book, Mark Manson talks about solving problems as part of it, and he gives you a different spin on it. Everyone pursues happiness and thinks that if they had a life free of problems somehow, they'd be happy. Like people think, oh, I'll be happy when XYZ occurs, or I'll be happy if blah, blah, blah. And in actual fact, that mindset of I'll be happy when and I'll be happy if is like a death by 1,000 cuts. You deserve better. And the truth about that mindset is that deep down, what you really want more of is the feeling of not having what you want. Like, drop a 2 in the chat if that kind of doesn't stick with you right away. Drop a 2 in the chat if you need to hear that again, if you need the explanation. Because when someone first told me that, like, oh, that I'll be happy when if, that's actually just that I want to hold on to the feeling of not having what I want. I'm like, why? I'm manifesting, I'm focusing on what I want. And they go, no, 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 you're focusing on the fact that it's out there in the future. By saying to yourself, I'll be happy when slash if da da da, you are in fact in desire and wanted the feelings of not having what you want. You're programming yourself essentially by saying, I'll be happy when, or I'll be happy if, says that you are not happy now. It puts your happiness exterior. So now you're focusing on something that is no longer in reach. And if you're constantly focusing on it out here, it stays out here, it stays ahead of you. So every day that passes, you're not getting necessarily closer to it. You're still thinking of it as something that is eluding you, something that is staying away from you. So Mark Manson states that if you search for a life free of problems, you're going to be miserable. There's always going to be problems. There's always going to be little things that happen. And to be honest, how do you feel when you face a tough situation or a hard lesson or a failure and you manage to conquer it, either pretty quickly, like then and there, or you come back to it and the next time you get over it? How do you feel defeating your challenge? Because personally, I feel amazing. Like, I feel happiness, I feel joy, I feel accomplishment, I feel pride. And Mark states that this is where your happiness in life will and does come from. Um, it won't stay like that. Nothing in life is meant to be stagnant. That's why rivers are constantly flowing, energy is constantly flowing, money's constantly flowing. And there will never be a soul in existence that will experience a life free of problems ever again. What are you going to do? Just like in the video at the beginning, you're building up to this moment. Okay, what are you building up to? The moment where your problems stop? No, you're constantly dealing with problems, and it's about getting over them, feeling good, upgrading your problems as well at the same time. In fact, Mark says, like, the happiness of pursuit is the accomplishment of problems itself and the upgrading of problems, not avoiding problems, but upgrading problems. Now, the example used in the book I'm also going to throw for you guys right now is I'm going to compare two problems. I'm going to say A or B, and I want you guys to drop in the chat which one you'd rather have, A or B. So A, would you rather be so poor that you don't know where your next meal is going to come from? Or would you rather B, be rich, be ready to go for a joyride on a Sunday, and have the problem of deciding, what car am I going to take? I see a lot of B's being dropped. Like, it's still a problem. You still have a decision to make. You still have something to get over, but it's a better problem. You're upgrading your problems. And the thing is, if you don't do that self-reflection, that self-correction, you'll always do what you've always done, and you'll always get what you always got. You might beat one problem, okay. You might beat the initial problem of what am I going to eat? But then the next day, you're still going to have that problem again until something changes, until you can keep upgrading your problems, get over something, get that satisfaction. Okay, boom, I'm happy, da da da. What's my next best move? How can I beat that? How can I step up? Otherwise, if you just sit there and you have to face the same problems and you do the same things you've always done and you don't reflect, you don't correct, you don't move forward, you're going to live a life of disappointments, anguish, and stagnation. So once you can understand the situation, the problem, or the desired outcome, whether it be less of something or more of something, then that can help you to start to solve the problem. So us all being traders here, I'm going to use an example of trading. So I know when you start, no one here can put up their hand and say, oh, I started and I was free of all my emotions, I was control of everything. You take a bad trade or you have a bad streak when you're starting or when you're new and you're still learning to manage your emotions, you're going to deal with anger and frustration. So then you want to say, okay, thank you for bringing this up. I want less of these moments of losing trades, of blowing accounts, of being on these streaks, whatever it may be. So therefore, what do I need? What do I need more of? If I want less of this, what do I need more of to achieve less of these difficult times? Okay, do you know what? I got in too early, so I require more patience. I will work on my patience by doing X, Y, Z. You can also ask yourself at this point to further your reflection. This question's big for me is, does this serve me? So if we go back to the same example as before, if you're angry, you can say, damn, I'm angry at my recent trading results. I'm so mad. I'm frustrated, da da da. Does this anger serve me? Now, aside from telling me something is wrong that I need to shift, it does not serve me. So the next thing is, so if it does not serve me, am I ready to let go? Because a lot of times we struggle actually with letting go of the things that don't serve us, of letting go of the negative, of the feeling. And then you have to ask, am I ready to make that change? If yes, you're then wondering, okay, how can I make this change? How can I progress? Who can help me make these changes? Do I need any resources? What resources do I need? Or what books can I learn from? And now with this call being about like that life coaching and to help you get the answer to these questions, I'm just gonna introduce a solution that has been dropped in the book Think and Grow Rich. So please put a 3 in the chat if you've read Think and Grow Rich. All right, and once again, just like before when I said about Mark Manson and his book, if you haven't read it, you should read it 100%. This like paradigm shift when you read this book. Read it like 3 times more. However, I've read it personally like 6 times. And the trick commonly used in the realm of life coaching that was also mentioned in this book is having your own board of staff within your mind. So when you seek counsel, when you need help or inspiration, when you need creativity, like you just, when there's a problem, you just turn to your boardroom and you hold a meeting with your partners. You get to say to these partners who should be like your heroes, people you admire, um, people that you have there because they hold qualities that you seek to possess yourself. You get to ask them advice. Once you've created your board, you'll see that they'll have like personalities and words of wisdom, and some will be late and some will be angry and but like brutally honest, and you'll actually learn from all these different sides to be able to put something together and move forward. And lastly, before I pass it on to Mike, I'm going to introduce perceptual positions, which is very similar but more real world, and like physically you will be doing these things yourself. So perceptual positions is actually a tool frequently used in life coaching and NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming. So it's programming of your mind. And a simple example of how to practice this is just to take different positions up in a room over the practice of this reflection period. So for example, the first position is going to be you. And what you're going to do is you're going to sit in the middle of the room on a chair. And that you is where you are currently. When you're sitting there, you're going to close your eyes. You're going to feel the feelings of this exact moment that you're in. And you're going to see the problems that you're faced with. You're going to see everything about your life as it is now. Once you're all caught up in your emotions and you can describe the feelings as well as see the situation in your eyes vividly, at that point, you're going to open your eyes and you're going to stand up. You're going to take a couple steps away from your chair. You're going to turn around and you're going to get to look at yourself from the secondary position of a stranger. From the stranger's view, you're going to get to see how wrapped up you are in your own head and in your own emotions and in your own life. You're going to be so caught up and you're going to be like, wow, look at this person. Look at this dude sitting there. From that position of the stranger, you get to see how you are actually stuck and struggling. And you're also going to be able to start talking to yourself and say, okay, look, I can see that you're looking at this, that your life is like that, da da da. I think that you could do this. What advice comes to mind? What different position can you speak from that outside perspective? And just that, like that's just the first 2 of perceptual positions. From there, you're going to move on to the third perceptual position, which is sitting on the ground. You're going to get to sit down. You're going to walk across, sit down beside the chair, slightly in front of where you were sitting at first. From there, you're going to look up at the chair from the eyes of a child. You're going to be you as a kid, like a 5-year-old again, a 6-year-old, whatever it may be. And looking at you now, you're gonna be able to see, are you happy with what you see? Are you happy with the person that you became? Is there a dream or a feeling that you hold inside you as this kid that you wish to see yourself achieve when you grow up? Can you see that the you in the chair is progressing towards that dream? Do you feel it burning in your chest, like the excitement that you're ready to take over the world? And is that still in that person that seems to be stuck in their ways, whatever it may be, needing this reflection? Record in your notebook these thoughts. Record in your notebook the future you see as a kid, what you see towards this person, this older you that's sitting in that chair. Take down all the feelings that arise from being your childhood self once again. Next, you're going to go behind the chair. And you're going to stand on another chair or another stool, and you're going to look down on the entire situation. This is called the eagle's eye view. And what you're doing from up here is you're being able to see the thoughts the stranger has, the judgment, the whatever it is, the kid that's either excited or let down or however it may be. You get to see the person who's so stuck in their mind and what they're currently holding on to. You get to see all of this from a neutral perspective. So then you get to take note. How does this appear to me? What does it feel like as the eagle seeing all this? Does it seem like a tornado or a hurricane? Does it seem like a fog, or does it seem like trails of dust kicked up by the roadrunner dashing from place to place like the thoughts in your mind? Like, does it seem as simple as a caramel swirl in a box of vanilla caramel ice cream? Whatever it is, you want to take note of that experience. And then lastly, when you're done there, visualizing everything, seeing all this chaos in front of you, or whatever it may be to be seen by you, you're going to take up the last position of the coach. So in this position, you now have the knowledge of all of these different positions, all the different perceptions. You are now the one who has the insight, the knowledge, the wisdom of all of these perceptual positions. You're informed and you're empowered. The answer to your next best move or the solution to the problem that you may have been reflecting on could come to you right then and there in that moment. Or maybe you just feel some satisfaction, some clarity. Maybe you feel like your emotions have boiled up so much during that because you got so into it, and suddenly you're settling down, you're breathing again. Whatever it may be, you're going to find that at the end of it, either instantly or maybe over a day, a week or so, the answers will come to you. At that point, you'll have made different connections and have different solutions to the issue that you were first stuck with. So that was just a introduction to perceptual positions, visualizations, questions you can be asking yourself to get your reflection started, and just life coaching and personal development tips and tricks from myself. But now, please drop some 9s in the chat if you're excited, and please drop some 9s in the chat to welcome our special guest, Mike Miles, who's taking the time out of his day to hop on, give everyone some knowledge, give everyone some sauce. And I'm hella excited about this, so I'm glad to see the chat's blowing up, and everyone is too. So there you go, Mike. Floor is all yours.